Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the September InnovaConnect event brought to you by the VinFuture Foundation and Hanoi University of Public Health. I'm Vi Seung, and it's my honor to be your moderator today. For people who don't know, the InnovaConnect series is a platform that fostering direct academic exchange where scientists, researchers, and experts convene not to only share academic knowledge, but to also cultivate meaningful connections and notable achievement. Today's event will focus on a critical public health issues, the harmful effect of new tobacco products, the increasing popularities of e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products, especially among young people, has raised significant concerns. To address this challenge, the VinFuture Foundation and Hanoi University of Public Health has assembled a panel of experts to share their knowledge, experience, and explore potential solutions. This time, we are honored to host this InnovaConnect event with Hanoi University of Public Health, a leading institution in the field of public health in Vietnam. We would like to express our deep appreciations to the University Board of Management, faculty, and staff for making this event a success. And now, allow me to introduce the panel of experts that will be joining us in today's event. From Hanoi University of Public Health, we are pleased to welcome Professor Hoang Van Minh, Rector of the University and Director of the Center for Population Health Science. Representing the VinFuture Foundation, we have Dr. Lê Thái Hà, our Managing Director. We are also honored to have two distinguished speakers to join us today. Associate Professor Becky Freeman from the School of Public Health at the University of Sydney. Ms. Bungon Ritthiphakdee, Senior Advisor of the Southeast Asia Tobacco Control Alliance and Executive Director of the Global Center for Good Governance in Tobacco Control. And it's also our pleasure to welcome experts and representatives from institutions and organizations from all around the world to join us today, from both in person and virtually. And now, to set the stage, I would like to invite you to watch a brief trailer to provide an overview of what we'll be discussing today. Please.
The rising popularity of electronic cigarettes and heated tobacco products, HTP, particularly among young people, has become a major public health concern. Often marketed as a harmless and stylish option compared to traditional cigarettes, these devices have been widely misunderstood, despite mounting evidence of their significant health risks. To address these concerns, the VinFuture Foundation brings together a distinguished panel of experts in the upcoming September InnovaConnect, themed Preventing the Harmful Effects of New Tobacco Products, Evidence from Vietnam and Other Countries. This event will focus on the detrimental effects of new tobacco products and explore prevention strategies implemented in Vietnam and globally. Joining us are the esteemed panelists. Associate Professor Becky Freeman from the School of Public Health, the University of Sydney, Australia. She is an established global authority on the potential of the Internet to circumvent tobacco advertising bans and enhance tobacco control efforts. As a key member of the Prevention Research Collaboration, her proven expertise in tobacco control topics and the health impact of advertising has made her a sought-after commentator in the media. The second distinguished speaker is one of the leaders in tobacco control, Ms. Bungon Ritthiphakdee. As an effective and inclusive advocate, she strategically harnesses the strength of partners and places a premium on trust building and consistency when assisting governments and the tobacco control community. Ms. Ritthiphakdee founded Southeast Asia Tobacco Control Alliance in 2000 and the Global Center for Good Governance in Tobacco Control in 2017. She has since labored to build a strong and cohesive regional tobacco control movement. And last but not least, we welcome Professor Hoang Van Minh to the panel. He is currently the Rector of Hanoi University of Public Health in Hanoi, Vietnam, and Director of the Center for Population Health Sciences. With over 20 years of research on tobacco control, he has published over 40 papers on international peer-reviewed journals to provide scientific evidences to advocate for tobacco control policies and strategies in Vietnam. He has published over 300 scientific papers with a total citations of over 27,500 and H-index of 57. With the escalating prevalence of e-cigarette usage among Vietnamese adolescents and adults, it is imperative to address the associated health risks immediately. Join us today to explore the multifaceted dangers of electronic cigarettes and HTPs and contribute to the development of effective prevention policies.
Good morning, distinguished policymakers, esteemed professor, researcher, beloved student, valued representative of community organization and the media. As the rector of the Hanoi University of Public Health, it is my great honor to welcome all of you to our university to attend the scientific conference on preventing the harmful effect of new tobacco products evident from Vietnam and other countries. This conference is being jointly organized by VinFuture Foundation and Hanoi University of Public Health. Today, we gather to discuss an important public health challenge that goes beyond national border. That is the rise of new tobacco product smoking, including e-cigarette and heated tobacco products, especially among younger populations. These emerging harmful products present multiple risks and require our collective efforts and innovative solutions. This conference brings together policymakers, researchers, students, and community advocates to foster collaboration and exchange insight among relevant stakeholders. So I encourage our policymakers to explore how the evidence presented today can use and shaping the policy legislation. To the esteemed professor and researcher, your expertise will be crucial for shaping public health and intervention in Vietnam. And to our beloved students, your fresh perspective and passion will drive to novel approaches to combat tobacco-related harms. And to representative of community organization and the media, the role in raising awareness and mobilizing public support are vital to the success of tobacco control policy in Vietnam and in the world. This meeting provides an important platform for sharing knowledge, building partnership, and identify practical solutions for safeguarding public health and improving population health. So I urge you all to take this opportunity to work together to effect meaningful changes. I would like to extend a special welcome and thanks to international experts coming from far away to Vietnam to make their presentation to share knowledge. Associate Professor Becky Freeman from School of Public Health at University of Sydney, Australia, and Miss Bungon Ritthiphakdee, Senior Advisor to Southeast Asia Tobacco Control Alliance, and Director of the Global Center for Good Governance of Tobacco Control in Thailand. Their invaluable contribution based on their extensive knowledge and experiences in tobacco control will be crucial, and that can be adapted into our Vietnamese context. And thank you all for your participation. I would like to also offer our sincere thanks to the VinFuture Foundation, the Vital Strategy, and Vietnam Tobacco Control Fund for their technical and funding support that make our study and the today conference possible. And I would like to wish you a productive and inspiring conference and having meaningful discussion and also impactful collaboration. And once again, thank you and welcome to the Hanoi University of Public Health. So now moving to my scientific presentation, I would like to share with you the finding from our recent study on the use of e-cigarette and heated tobacco product among adolescents in Vietnam. This study was supported by the Vital Strategy and Vietnam Tobacco Control Fund. With this study, we report the prevalence of e-cigarette and heated tobacco product smoking among adolescents in Vietnam and related factors. And we also say a little bit about public health implication of this study. First of all, I would like to say that in Vietnam, tobacco smoking has long been embedded in traditional culture and norms. So you can see that in the past, tobacco smoking is often seen as a precious gift and also a way to build friendship and also the tool to initiate business conversation. And I would say that the concept and practice are so bad that must be changed in near future. So in Vietnam, tobacco smoking is very common. And according to Global Adult Tobacco Survey conducted in 2015, in Vietnam, about 15.6 million adult smokers. And the prevalence of smoker among men was 20.5%, and more than 45% among men, and more than 1% among women. So in Vietnam, there are many types of tobacco products. You can see here, traditional cigarette, including cigarette, water pipe, and shisha, cigar, and other types of smokeless tobacco. We also have new tobacco product, including electronic cigarette and heated tobacco products. So here is a figure of e-cigarettes that are battery power devices that heat a liquid containing nicotine, flavor, and other chemicals. And heated tobacco products are devices that heat stick or capsule, releasing nicotine aerosols. And now we also have hybrid cigarette. Hybrid cigarette combine aspect of both e-cigarette and STP. So that this is a new tobacco product that available in Vietnam. So what do we know about the use of e-cigarette and STP among adolescents in Vietnam up to now? According to Global Youth Tobacco Survey conducted in 2021 among students aged 13 to 15 years old, we found out that the prevalence of e-cigarette smoking was 3.5%, and the prevalence of STP smoking was 0.6%. And nowadays, the tobacco industry is targeting the adolescent with the new tobacco products, and it seems that the prevalence of use of e-cigarette and STP are increasing in Vietnam. And policymakers in Vietnam, especially those from National Assembly and Ministry of Health, are very concerned about this problem. So it's very important to have more in-depth information on the use of e-cigarette and STP in Vietnam and related factors to inform policy purpose in Vietnam. So with the support from Vital Strategy and Vietnam Tobacco Control Fund, we have just conducted one study to assess prevalence of e-cigarette and STP smoking among school students in Vietnam in 2023 and 2024. This is a largest and in-depth survey on e-cigarette and STP use in Vietnam. It was conducted in 11 provinces and cities in Vietnam across 39 schools, and we are focusing on students aged 11 to 18 years old. And we use mixed methods, including quantitative methods and qualitative approaches. So here's, we have just finished this survey. So now come to main finding of our study. I will be presenting only 5 main findings from our study. There are a lot of findings, but I will be presenting only 5 main findings. So number 1, that is the prevalence of e-cigarette and STP smoking, including current use and ever use. So you can see from the slide, the prevalence of current use of e-cigarette among school children was 7%, about 10% among boys, and more than 4% among girls. And the prevalence of current use of STP was 1%, 1.5% among boys, and 1.6%, 0.6% among girls. So you can see that the prevalence of current use of e-cigarette has increased over time from 2.6 in 2019 up to 3.5% in 2021 and go up to 7% now in 2024. So the figure was double up as compared to the figure in 2 years ago. So you can see the alarming figure, alarming finding from our study. And the rise was faster among boys as compared to that among girls. So mostly the prevalence is much higher among boys as compared to girls. We can also see the rising trend in HTP smoking in comparison with previous finding. It goes up from 0.6% to 1% in 2040. In 2021, from 2021 to 2024, it goes almost double. So the rise also faster among boys as compared to girls. Yeah, that is the prevalence of current use. We also found the prevalence of ever use of e-cigarette and HCP has been also increasing over time. Specifically, the prevalence of ever use. Ever use means that the student reported they try e-cigarette at least once in the past. And the prevalence of ever use of e-cigarette is 14%. And the prevalence of ever use of HTP was 1.8%. And we can also see the increasing trend over time from 2021 to 2024. And the rise was faster among boys as compared to girls. Similarly, for HTP, we can also increasing trend and from 1.5% up to 1.8%, and also faster among boys as compared to girls. That is an alarming figure, alarming finding from our study. And it called for urgent attention to prevent and control for new tobacco smoking, new tobacco product smoking in Vietnam, especially among adolescents. The second finding is a reason for use of e-cigarette and HCP among adolescents in Vietnam. So why are adolescents using e-cigarette? So the reason behind mainly cultural and social. A lot of them reported that they use e-cigarette or HCP because they feel it very cool. And a lot of them reported that they use e-cigarette and HCP because of peer pressure, peer influence. And a lot of them try e-cigarette and HCP because of curiosity. And you can also see that popularity and availability of e-cigarette and HCP are also reason for increased use of HCP, e-cigarette and HCP among adolescents. So it's quite alarming finding as well. So the third key finding about awareness about the harmful effect of e-cigarette and HCP among school students. You can see here, this is also alarming finding. A lot of students thought that e-cigarette and HCP are not harmful or less harmful as compared to traditional cigarette. This 10% and 3% of them thought that e-cigarette and HTP are not harmful or less harmful as compared to traditional cigarette. And a lot of them do not know about the danger of e-cigarette, and more than 40% of them do not know about the danger of HTP. That is the alarming, that call for urgent need for some kind of health education to raise awareness, knowledge about the health risks associated with e-cigarette and HCP among adolescents in Vietnam. And the fourth key finding is about exposure to advertisement of e-cigarette and STP among adolescents in Vietnam. We found high level of exposure to advertisement of e-cigarette and STP among adolescents in Vietnam. Almost 80% of them reported seeing the e-cigarette advertisement, and more than 30% of students reported that they saw STP advertisement. And a lot of them saw the advertisement on the internet, on social media for both e-cigarette and STP. So this called for the urgent need to ban the advertisement of e-cigarette, heated tobacco product on social media and on the internet. The fifth key finding is about policy gap. Even though national strategy for tobacco harm prevention and control until 2030 signed by Prime Minister in May 2023, but up to now, there is no specific policy enacted to ban sale, import, and use of e-cigarette and STP in Vietnam. So that's also very challenging. So I have presented 5 main findings from our survey. Here is summary. The first one is the prevalence of e-cigarette and STP smoking among adolescents in Vietnam is rising rapidly. The second key finding is the reason for e-cigarette and STP smoking among adolescents are mainly social and cultural consideration. The third key finding is there has been lack of awareness about the harmful effect of e-cigarette and STP among students. And the fourth key finding, advertisement of e-cigarette and STP are very popular, especially on social media and on the internet. And the final is very important that there has been lack of policy on banning e-cigarette and STP. We will hear from our international experts from Thailand, from Australia. E-cigarette and STP are banned, but in Vietnam, we have no that kind of policy yet. We will hear more about that from presentation by our international expert. So based on the key findings from our study, we offer some policy recommendations. The first one is to establish national system to monitor the trend in e-cigarette and STP smoking among adolescents in school, allowing for timely intervention. Our Hanoi University of Public Health have capacity to establish and running this kind of system. So in coming time, we try to advocate this, and our Hanoi University of Public Health is willing, and we will take part in this initiative. The second recommendation is to implement comprehensive education program in school to raise awareness, knowledge, attitude, and practice against e-cigarette and STP, especially educate about the health risks associated with e-cigarette and STP. And we might have some peer education program to counter the misconception that e-cigarette, STP are cool or modern or trendy. In Hanoi University of Public Health, we are also discussing, we are developing a proposal on a pilot project. We will get advice from international experts after tomorrow meeting. And we also send our proposal to VinFuture Foundation and Vietnam Tobacco Control Fund. And we hope in the future we will get some funding to do the pilot project in some school in Hanoi to raise awareness, knowledge, attitude, and practice against tobacco smoking, especially e-cigarette and STP. So I hope that our students are involved in this project. So the third recommendation is to ban advertisement of e-cigarette and STP, especially on social media and internet, because nowadays you can see that we can easily buy e-cigarette and even HTP from the internet. And the final one is very important, that enact strong policy to ban. We have to learn from the other country, and we need to ban the import, sale, and use of e-cigarette in Vietnam in the coming time, very soon in coming time. So that comes to the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you for your attention. We look forward to learning from our international experts about their experience in tobacco control in Thailand, in Australia, in other countries. And I hope that we can get information and we learn experience from Thailand, from Australia to adapt into our local context. And once again, thank you very much for your attention and for participation and contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hoang Van Minh, for such a wonderful presentation. And now, I would like to introduce our second speakers, Ms. Bungon Ritthiphakdee, Senior Advisor of the Southeast Asia Tobacco Control Alliance and Executive Director of the Global Center for Good Governance in Tobacco Control. Ms. Ritthiphakdee will share her insights on electronic nicotine delivery system and lessons learned from Thailand and Singapore.
Xin chào. Very good morning. First of all, I would like to thank VinFuture Foundation and Hanoi School of Public Health for inviting me to this important event. I truly appreciate the visions of the VinFuture Foundation, let's say, to create meaningful change in the everyday life of millions of people. I believe this event today is a historical moment for Vietnam and for us to work together in creating change, in particular to protect the young generation from nicotine addictions. I'm very glad that to see many young students here in this room. Come on for your attending this conference today. You are the future of Vietnam. So it is really, really important for us as senior citizens and the young citizens to work together for the future free from nicotine addictions. I would like to start by asking a questions. Anyone in this room know or use this product? Please raise your hand, especially the young generations. Okay, so I hope that you know about this product, but you don't use this product. Can someone tell me what it is, what they are?
It's known for electric cigarette or maybe vape, and other names is I mean, I don't use it, but lately I know it's appear in many different kind and different shape, and it's also colorful. But usually I see it in my university, like the students smoke. Especially yesterday, my dad was talking about this too, because he were like seeing this for the first time. He said to me that in his workplace, he see the young generation used it, and he very surprised because he see that women use it too. Yeah. So that is my opinion and my knowing it.
Thank you very much. Please give a big hand to our colleagues. Yes, it's e-cigarette, or other name is pot or wave, which contain nicotines and various chemicals, including flavor. The use are targeted by the industries, as we all know, and we heard from Professor Minh earlier, because the devices are designed to be very, very stylish or cute and colorful. So all of these are wave or pots or e-cigarette. And believe it or not, that some parents, they don't know that what are in the pockets of their kids or their children, because they think it is a USB or it is a pencil or it is a kind of stationery. So this is very dangerous. And the issue used amongst young people is a global health concerns, including Vietnam, as we heard from Professor Vin, because of high rates of experimentation and initiations, as we heard this morning. So young people are being targeted with advertising campaign that normalize vaping while downplaying its addictiveness. Social media influencer, and I believe that in Vietnam as well, are being recruited to promote this product as trendy lifestyle accessory, in particular on TikTok. Some posts gain almost 300 million views. So government around the world start to take serious actions on this issue. For example, U.S. Surgeon General warned that e-cigarette use among youth, among young people, is an epidemic since December 2018. So this is an urgent crisis, and tobacco companies are behind it. So this is why that I'm very, very pleased that VinFuture Foundation and Hanoi School of Public Health take this issue seriously and choose this to be a topic of the InnovaConnect this year. In Hong Kong, closer to our countries, e-cigarette is now banned after medical experts warn government on the shocking rise in primary school children trying vaping. So the Hong Kong law now prohibits the import, manufacture, sale, distribution, and advertisements of e-cigarette, HTP, and other herbal cigarette. So it came into effect since 30th of April in 2022 because of medical experts alert the government. So similar to what Professor Minh is doing today. So we hope that this policy change will happen in Vietnam and also in other countries. Among the 10 ASEAN countries, 5 countries already banned e-cigarette: Brunei, Cambodia, Laos PDR, Singapore, and Thailand, while Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines still allow the sale. Vietnam and Myanmar have no policy yet on this issue. So let's look at what happened in Indonesia, where e-cigarette are allowed. My Indonesian colleague informed me that it is out of control. Vaping is everywhere and became normal as intended by the industry. In the Philippines, you can easily buy e-cigarette, in particular from online platforms like Lazada, Shopee. Shops near school also sell pots and e-juice with various flavors, including blueberry, lychee, grapefruit, mango, banana. So many flavors in the e-juice that are sold around the school. For 5 countries that ban e-cigarette, they have different approaches, but the same objective, and that is to protect public health, preventing youth access to this device, and reduce the potential harm associated with vaping. In Thailand, we have regulation from 4 ministries in dealing with e-cigarette. Ministry of Commerce has issued the notification on prohibiting of import of e-cigarette in 2014. In the following year, Consumer Protection Board issued an order on prohibition of sale and service of e-cigarette, including smoking materials and requests for filling e-cigarette. In 2017, there is a Custom Act, and one of the articles required that import of e-cigarette or export of this such goods out of Thailand is prohibited. And also in that year, 2017, Tobacco Product Control Act was passed with prohibits smoking, including e-cigarette use in all public places, workplaces, and public transport. But we are still face a lot of challenge which lead to high uptaking of vaping among Thai youth. There is still illegal sale, including online sale of this product. So this is the challenge that we are facing in Thailand. We still need strong enforcement by agency in charge, in particular policemen and also the custom who are in charge of looking at the smuggling product across the border. But the most challenge is the aggressive lobbying effort by both tobacco company and front group to revoke the ban by saying that if the government allow or legalize the e-cigarette, it will solve all the problem, which is not true. So public health community in Thailand are trying to urge the government to keep this policy and to strengthen the enforcement. The key lesson learned that I would like to share here today is that be vigilant to the industry and their front group because they are very, very aggressive to try to normalize or legalize the e-cigarette by saying that government can generate more tax revenue if e-cigarette is legal. They also, in the past, trying to propose some kind of pilot marketing, test is first, that kind of thing. So the government need to be firm in prioritize public health over commercial interests. Experience from many countries show that implementation of restriction is problematic. Banning is simpler. And it's also, as Professor Min said, that it is very important to raise public awareness and denormalize all form of tobacco use, as well as to oppose the industry misinformation. Let's have a look at Singapore, another country who also banned e-cigarette. Singapore has prohibited the importation and sale of imitation of tobacco products in 2011, which applied to e-cigarette as well. In 2017, Singapore government extended the ban to cover purchase, distribution, use, possession, advertising, promotion, and sponsorship by e-cigarette. The government rationale behind this approach is to prevent the normalization and potential uptake of e-cigarette among the youth. The government also considered this product as a potential gateway to or starter product that hook the youth on nicotine and lead them to later cigarette use. The strict enforcement of this regulation has been successful in maintaining low smoking rate among the population in Singapore, as well as preventing the emergence of significant vaping culture. So let's learn from Singapore suggests that monitor and enforce against online sales through social media channel is highly needed because many of these products are promoted and sold online. But at the meantime, government need to be vigilant in cross-border enforcement against importation because of smuggling in the country through cross-border. Most importantly, the whole society should work together in educating youth on harm of this product to counter online marketing, as well as to raise a public concern that e-cigarette use among young people is an epidemic. On another good practice from Singapore is that it leverages partnership with the private sector, particular online platform like Shopee, Lazada, and other to engage this online platform to comply with the strong regulation that they have, because that's where the problem is. So giving the clear and growing evidence on the harmful of the e-cigarette and HTP, and because it's appeal to the youth, it is imperative to implement stringent measures that prohibit or restrict their manufacture, sale, marketing, and use in order to decrease the appeal of e-cigarette to young people and denormalize their use. Regulation by prohibiting e-cigarette is driven by the obligation of government to protect and promote public health, particularly by preventing youth access to harmful products. Banning this device is a workable solution. Over 45 countries currently ban electronic smoking devices. If society were to apply history's lesson from the mistake that we allow cigarette and other products to be sold widely under certain restrictive conditions for more than a century now, a complete ban on e-cigarette is recommended as effective public health policy that would significantly reduce the risk associated with their use. I believe that today's youth is tomorrow's future. In order to lead the future, youth need to be free from nicotine addiction. So let's join hands and work together to create a better future. I thank you very much for your kind attention and look forward to work with everyone and Hanoi School of Public Health, VinFuture Foundations, and other tobacco control community in Vietnam to protect the Vietnamese young generation from nicotine addiction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentations, Ms. Ritthiphakdee. And now we will come to the final presentations by Associate Professor Becky Freeman from the School of Public Health, the University of Sydney. She will discuss products and tactics targeting youth and how research can inform vaping policy in Australia.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's a delight to be in Hanoi in your beautiful sunny weather, and it's so warm and lovely. I heard last that you had a terrible storm recently, and I'm so sorry to see the damage that's been done to some of your trees. So I hope that the weather continues to be kind to you. I want to say a big thank you to the VinFuture Foundation and to the University of Hanoi School of Public Health. It's great to be here and establishing partnerships and getting a chance to talk to you about what's going on in Australia. In Australia, we always acknowledge the traditions of custodianship and law on the country of which the University of campuses stand. We acknowledge our First Nations people, and we pay respects to those who care and continue to care for country. I think a lot of you are probably aware of that there's a big debate about e-cigarettes, right? Have you heard that there's this figure going around that they're 95% safer? Has anyone heard that? That e-cigarettes are 95% safer than smoking? Yeah. I just want to tell you straight away that that is not true. That is a total lie made up by the industry, perpetuated through even, academic journals and the media. It is not true. But the reason why these lies sort of perpetuate is we often think about whether e-cigarettes are safe for individuals. So we talk about a clinical perspective, right? Say if you're a doctor and you're meeting with someone who smoked for 45 years and they've tried everything they can to quit. They've tried patches, gums, they've called the quit line, they've gone cold turkey, they've had hypnosis and they can't quit smoking. And they try e-cigarettes and maybe they switch fully to e-cigarettes. People then have taken that sort of real clinical, specific, very small number of people who may have a health reason to use e-cigarettes and moved it to a big population level and said, but we should sell these things everywhere. They should be available in petrol stations. They should be available in convenience stores, grocery stores. And of course, because you're all public health students, you understand the difference between clinical medicine and population health. And it's got a way on us. We've been so focused on, do e-cigarettes help people quit smoking? We've forgotten about young people. We've forgotten about the rest of the population who have never smoked, or young people who have never started smoking. E-cigarettes aren't safe for them. E-cigarettes aren't a health harm reduction tool for them. And we've finally sort of woken up to this, and the shift in focus to protecting the health of young people is really important, and is how we got our law over the line in Australia, which I'll sort of take you through now. I run a study called the Generation Vape Project, where we survey young people, their parents, teachers, and young adults all across Australia. I'm going to take you through some of the results of that. Just to give you some context, our smoking rate in Australia is very low. We're very fortunate. Our smoking rate is only 8.3%. That's across the entire population of people over the age of 14. However, even though it's a good news story in terms of tobacco use going down, e-cigarette use has really exploded. And you can see that 1 in 5 people over age of 14 have reported using an e-cigarette at least once in their lifetime. And this is almost double what it was just a few years ago. And you notice the timing of this, 2019, it was before COVID, right? E-cigarette use wasn't a big issue in Australia. It was something we were grappling with, but it wasn't, top public health priority. And then COVID happened. And everyone was concentrated. Everyone from public health was pulled off of tobacco control, was pulled off all other health issues. And we took our eye off the prize, and the industry swooped in. And they took advantage of the fact that public health people weren't focused on anything but COVID. And they started marketing their products heavily, developing new products, and importing them into Australia. So our e-cigarettes look very much like the e-cigarettes from all over the world. You can see they're all in bright colors. They all come in these lovely flavors. They're full of nicotine. And this key part here, they're disposable, right? You just use it and toss it aside. Some of the older products, some of you may have seen them, the really big e-cigarettes that you have to put the liquid in and they make the big clouds of smoke. Those aren't very practical for a young person to use. You have to know what you're doing. And it's hard to hide a big cigarette cloud, right? These disposable ones, you can just buy them and start using them straight away. You don't have to know what you're doing at all. And they smell amazing. They look fun. And no wonder young people are really curious about them. And you can just see they come in lolly flavors, chewing gum flavors, bright packaging. So what was the policy problem in Australia? Why is a country that has such a history of effective tobacco control, what happened that our e-cigarette use skyrocketed? So the policy problem we had was that essentially e-cigarettes were not allowed to be sold in shops in Australia because they contain nicotine. That's how we regulate e-cigarettes. It's because they contain nicotine. They could only be available to adults with a prescription because they were treated as a medicine. So I'm just going to walk you through this. So if you wanted to buy an e-cigarette, you first had to ask yourself, are you over age 18? And if you said no, no e-cigarettes for you at all. You cannot access them. If you said yes, then you needed to ask yourself, do you want a nicotine vape or a non-nicotine vape? If you wanted a non-nicotine vape, you could just go buy one from the store. There were virtually no laws against it, no regulations, nothing. So these were being openly sold in shops all over Australia. If you wanted a nicotine vape, however, then you had to ask yourself, well, do you have a prescription from a doctor to get one? And if you didn't, then you couldn't have one. And if you did, then you could either import one from overseas or you could buy one locally in Australia from a pharmacy. You can see how complicated this is. It's not easy to understand policy, let alone an easy to enforce policy. And can anyone spot the big loophole here? What's the big problem? It's this whole idea that non-nicotine vapes are available. How do you tell the difference between a non-nicotine vape and a nicotine vape? They look exactly the same to me. And so what was happening was all these retailers were saying, oh, of course, I'm only selling non-nicotine vapes. I would never break the law. And no, they were selling nicotine vapes. Nobody, I'll tell you a secret, nobody wants a non-nicotine vape. Why on earth would you want a non-nicotine vape? It's a complete myth. And so we needed to tidy up our reforms because they clearly were unenforceable, not working, and had this giant loophole that the industry was just waltzing right through. And so we need to end the easy access to vapes by stopping the importation of all non-prescription vapes, ending vape sales, including non-nicotine. And then so now in Australia, we have a situation where if you want to use a vape, you can only get it from a pharmacy. And the ones in pharmacies they're not disposable products. So we've completely banned disposables. We've completely banned HTPs, and we've completely banned refillable products. The only product you can get from a pharmacy is the pod style. It's a little cartridge that you put inside a vaping device. They come in pharmaceutical-like packaging, no more bright unicorns, no more pink pretty pictures, no more lush ice. And you can only get them in tobacco and menthol flavor. That's it. And so the idea then is to take that clinical model where they work for a very small number of people and make sure those are the only people who access them, and protecting young people from becoming lifelong nicotine addicts. So what does the industry claim e-cigarettes are for? This is from Philip Morris's website. Are only for those adults who would otherwise continue to smoke. But I've just shown you, and the other speakers have just shown you all the data. It's young people who are using these products, not old people who have tried desperately to quit and can't. Do you think this product is for an old man? No. This is marketed to and used by young people who have never smoked. I don't know how they can on one hand say these are for adults, and then you look at the market of what's available and they look like this. So I'm just going to take you through, I'm not going to go through the findings of the Generation Vape study too much, but what I want to say is that when we recognized this policy problem was happening, there was this giant loophole that young people's rates were going through the roof. We needed to convince government to act. And one of the best ways to do that is to conduct research that supports a policy position. So then you have the public health sector, the researchers, the policymakers, the NGOs, all sort of working together to make the problem really obvious and the solution really obvious. And the Gen Vape study that I lead made it very clear that young people found e-cigarettes very easy to access. They were knowingly using ones that contained nicotine, that they were curious about the products, and that they were very misinformed about the health effects. They thought they were safe. They thought they were just water vapor and flavors, that they weren't their grandfather's cigarettes, that this was a new product, a sexy product, a fun product made just for them. And when you're the tech generation, right? You're never without your phone. It sort of fits in with that. It's this piece of technology. And of course, they're being advertised all over social media as well. But I want to give you also some heartwarming findings from our study. We've been doing a lot of vaping education in Australia. We have mass media campaigns. We have campaigns being run on TikTok and on Instagram by influencers. So we're taking what the industry is doing to sell you cigarettes, and we're selling you anti-vaping messages using those same techniques. And you can see that over the course of the study, the number of people who are seriously thinking about quitting has risen dramatically. Those campaigns are really working. So when you combine effective mass media campaigns with effective policy, you can quickly make changes. And I just want to emphasize that the parents and teachers are real allies in this as well. Parents are very big advocates for their young people, and teachers were actually the first group to really recognize that vaping was a problem in young people. They came to us and said, vapes are all over our schools. Young people are using these in class. They were more informed about vaping than almost any other group in our study. And they're a powerful ally in getting the government to act. Teachers don't want to be the vaping police at school. And the school toilets, young people were going into the school toilets, vaping at lunchtime. Some schools were putting alarms in their toilets. It was out of control. They need support from the government to get these products out of the hands of young people. So what were the tobacco industry tactics? So we've been advocating for the past couple of years to tighten up our laws, which have just been passed and come into place just a couple months ago. The industry did not stay quiet during this. They funded a campaign called Responsible Vaping Australia. They put these ads out that made it sound like they were looking for reasonable regulations of vaping products, that somehow if we allowed the tobacco industry to sell nicotine vaping products everywhere, that those products would be safer and more regulated. They would do a good job. And they actually copied some of our mass media campaigns. So this one here, Do You Know What You're Vaping, was made by the health department. And the one on the other side there was Responsible Vaping Australia, fully funded by British American Tobacco, 100%. It's just a front campaign. But if you click on it and sign a petition, you think as a concerned parent, maybe I'm helping. It was very deceitful. We also had a television campaign and billboards saying that the new laws wouldn't work. Some of the reasons presented for that was that it would increase a black market, that would waste taxpayer dollars, that you couldn't enforce it, that youth will still have ongoing access to illegal vapes, that somehow legal vapes were okay, and that it hadn't worked in any other country. This was a policy that was doomed to fail. And then it sort of got a little desperate and they said, well, there aren't enough doctors in the country to be able to prescribe vaping products to smokers who need them, which is just ridiculous. And so why does the tobacco industry, why did British American Tobacco and Philip Morris want to challenge our laws rather than strengthen them? Remember that non-nicotine loophole? That's what we were looking to do. We already had really good regulations in place. They just weren't enforceable. But Philip Morris and British American Tobacco wanted to make it so that we just gave up and said, you know what, let's just make vapes available everywhere, because they manufactured disposable flavored vapes. And they would come in immediately and take over the market because they have supply channels everywhere, right? They already sell tobacco products everywhere. They already have salespeople on the ground. You loosen our laws, almost overnight, their products would take over. And you can see the Philip Morris one is Viva and the British American Tobacco one is Views. So when people tell you, oh, it's not the tobacco industry, these are rogue vaping manufacturers, these are not tobacco industry products. The tobacco industry will come in and take over as soon as you give them an inch, as soon as you make them regulated products that are freely available. And of course, they're master marketers. Does anyone here watch Drive to Survive on Netflix? Or Formula One? Any Formula One fans? You like the fast cars? They spend, BAT and PMI spent over $40 million sponsoring McLaren and Ferrari. And remember, they're not allowed to advertise or sponsor their cigarettes anymore. So what is it that they're promoting? They're promoting their e-cigarettes, of course. I'm just going to show you now an influencer video. This is for the British American tobacco brand called Views. And this is of a young woman. She's getting ready to go to a festival that's sponsored by BAT. So you can see she does one of those getting ready with me videos. Are any of you influencers? Any of you want to be influencers? These are the kind of videos they make, right? I'm going to a big party, a big event, I'm getting ready, I'm doing my hair, putting on my accessories, doing my makeup. And the very last thing she does is put a vape into her bag before she goes to the festival. Making it about your lifestyle, making it about being a young person out in the world, having a good time, learning to, find out what you love and what you want to do and what you want to be. And they want vaping to be associated with that. Marketed to adults who are trying to quit. Did you see a smoking cessation message in there anywhere? Was there a use these to quit smoking? No, it's absolute lies. So how did we get here? I'll just sum up. So you have inexpensive flavored disposable vaping devices, high concentration nicotine salts in these devices, which means they're very easy to inhale. You don't sort of cough up a lung like you do with cigarettes. Aggressive online marketing, misinformation about product safety, huge commercial interests, meaningless distinction between nicotine and non-nicotine, and a lack of importation and sales laws. And that use means vape use dramatically increased and became normalized in young people very quickly. Our reforms were introduced, so we have a health minister right now who's very committed to reducing youth vaping. And I think this is one of the key reasons for our success. Australia was also one of the first nations to adopt plain packaging of tobacco products because we had a health minister who wanted to do it. And you've got to take advantage of these political opportunities and build alliances with politicians who want to make the world better. And just to say that we had a lot of Senate hearings on this, a lot of experts, including myself, came to testify at these Senate hearings, and they fully agreed that the loophole needed to be closed. But what's next? The industry is not going to go roll over and just let this happen. Has anyone heard of nicotine pouches? Have you seen them? Essentially, they look like little tea bags, right? Little tiny tea bags. And you put them in between your lip and your gum, and you absorb the nicotine that way. These are made by Philip Morris. This is their brand called Zyn, and it comes in apple mint flavor. And I'm really worried because these are discreet. They don't even make a vape cloud. They come in nice flavors. They come in a little container that could easily slip into a pocket. And they're not being honest about how addictive nicotine can be or what the health effects of these products are. So we can't afford to fall asleep again. We can't afford to ignore the industry. And if you'd like to access any of my publications or the materials we've produced as part of Gen Vape, they're all available online. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Associate Professor Becky Freeman, for your excellent presentations. Your insights on products and targeting youth and the importance of research-informed vaping policy were invaluable. And now we will open the floor for questions and answer. It's time for the highly anticipated Q&A session. For our online audience, please submit your questions to the chat box and we'll make sure it reaches the most relevant panelists. For our offline audience presenting in this room, please raise your hand and we will move you to a microphone to ask your question directly. To facilitate these discussions, we have invited Associate Professor Ritthiphakdee from Hanoi University of Public Health as the moderator. Let's welcome our moderator and our distinguished panel of experts to the stage so that we can begin the Q&A session.
So thank you so much, three distinguished speakers. I think that from like decades of experience in researching. From the presentation from Professor Minh, we saw that the current trend of e-cigarette and heated tobacco products among adolescents. And we see the knowledge of adolescents about heated tobacco products and e-cigarettes. And from the two presenters and from our distinguished professors, we see the tactics of industries targeting the adolescents and young generation. So now I would like to welcome questions from the audience, and also we received some questions from online participants as well. But firstly, welcome questions from the audience for our distinguished speakers. Yes, Professor Hoang.
Yeah, thank you for the three nice and very attractive presentations. And from the first presentations of Professor Minh, I would like to have a question from international overviews for Associate Professor Becky Freeman. Normally now the youth in Vietnam, they spend a lot of time surfing with the mobile phones, and the average time they use mobile phone for social media surfing is around 7 hours per day. So based on the results from Professor Minh, that nearly 4/5 of the youth are exposing to the advertising and promotion and sales of the e-cigarettes and HTPs on social media. So I would like to have your experience and share from your country how Vietnam targeting these problems and how we solve the problem. Thank you very much.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And look, I think it's a global problem. Young people are on their phones all the time. That's just how their lives work. And I think the idea that we can get them off their phones, probably not realistic. But what we can do is make sure what they're seeing on their phones isn't harming them, isn't setting them up for a lifelong addiction to tobacco or to e-cigarettes. In Australia, we fully ban all forms of e-cigarette ads and promotions, including online. And the only way you can make that work is if you enforce it. And we need to hold platforms like Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, accountable for that content. They have their own policies stating that they don't allow tobacco promotions and e-cigarette promotions. It's not worth the ink it's written in. You absolutely need government regulations to do that, and you need to enforce them, which means you have to have big fines. And we also need cooperation. So that's why the FCTC is so important. Even though the FCTC only addresses tobacco, not e-cigarettes, it does set the sort of basis for how we can cooperate around cross-border. And social media, online media must be captured in all tobacco advertising and e-cigarette bans.
Thank you so much, Professor Becky. So I think that's very important for strict enforcement of the bans and monitoring of the bans on social media. Thank you so much. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, Big, please. Big from the Department of Occupational and Environmental Health.
Thank you very much for your great presentation. And I would like to ask regarding, I have learned a lot from experiences from Thailand, Singapore, and Australia. And my questions goes to Bungon. Let me call you Bungon. We are our college. What is your advice to Vietnam? Because we are now on the process of developing new policy for banning e-cigarette and other new products. So what is your advice for us to address all the issue of implementation and enforcement that you are facing in Thailand and Singapore and also Australia? Thank you very much.
Thank you. As you heard from both our presentation this morning, that actually the best way is to ban. But we still, in Thailand and even Singapore, we are still facing challenge on the online sale platform. And that means that the enforcement is very, very important. And for me, Singapore already did a good job in tracking and enforcing the regulation. And not only the government, but also the whole society, including private sector like Lazada, Shopee, or even Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. You need to mobilize them to take action on this issue, because as we heard from Becky this morning, that Australia, when they first start, they regulate, and it is complicated in enforcing, and it requires a lot of effort, a lot of budget, and a lot of and it even didn't work. So this is why they go stronger and stronger. So the best way for Vietnam actually just go straight to the ban. But then you can find a way to deal with the enforcement, and with a lot of lesson learned from many countries. I believe that actually Vietnam, you already have a strong tobacco control law. You already have Vietnam Tobacco Control Fund. You already have partner in tobacco control, and with the awareness on this issue, you can make it happen in banning. It's simpler. It's better to do that. And at the global communities, we are trying to work, for example, with TikTok, which is very worrisome, because according to the report that we got, that more than 90% of the video clip on TikTok about vape is to promote vape. Less than 10% is to say about the dangers of nicotine addiction. So we need to do more and act more. And I think that with the young generation who are very social media savvy, that kind of thing, we can engage them to do more on public education. So right now, the big gap is also the public education that dominated by the vapor, not by the public health educator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bungon. So we see that in our region, 5 countries already banned. So I think there are a lot of experience we can learn from your country, from Singapore, Laos, Thailand, and Brunei. So in the future, we hope strong ban, and we can learn from you. Yes, any other questions? Yes, please, Dr. Shen.
Hi, Becky. It's very nice to see you here, because you are one of my experts in this field. I don't have a question, actually. I have a comments. Sorry, but I want to take a little bit of time to introduce to you and the students a very good reports from Philip Morris, from the stop projects, from the leaked documents from Philip Morris employees about the bad manipulation of evidence and science from Philip Morris in Japan. The reason I want to show this, because we are here talking about science as evidence base for good policy makings. And thank you, Professor Minh, for a very good presentation on the evidence. I think it's very important for Vietnam, because it provides the information for the government to assess the situations, to guide the policy makings and also to guide the communication strategies. And thank you, Bungon, because you bring a lot of like a story from regionals. I get from your presentation that many countries in the region already banned, and despite the challenges, ban is still the best policy. I got that. And of course, thank you, Becky. I think the experience from Australia is very standard in the ways of using evidence for mapping the policies and change when it's needed. I got from your presentation that at the beginning, because of the industry interference, you limited to ban only vapes, some certain vapes, but then now you ban also non-nicotine vapes. That is based on evidence. So I think that is why sorry, I took a little bit longer time because I want to show this one, the best sense from the industries, because it is important to understanding the integrities of doing sense. So the student here need to be aware of we have good sense, but also we have bad sense. Yeah. So you need to be aware of, and not only the experience research here, they are aware of the tactics, but it's very important for the young generation to be aware of there are many bad sense, and then that is integrities of not only the research, but also the whole societies. Otherwise, the industry will win and continue to kill the people. So this is the very good document. I urge the students and other researchers to read it and knows about the tactics of Philip Morris in Japan, because the story in Japan today can happen to Vietnam tomorrow. That is the message. Thank you. Thank you for the presenters. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sun and Vital Strategy and Mr. Phương for supporting the study implemented by our university and continuously sharing information about the tactics and the bad science and the misleading information from the tobacco industries to the tobacco control groups. And every time we receive that, we also share to our students so they are aware of that tactics as well. Thank you so much for the support. So now I would like to have a question from the students. Yes, please.
Good morning, all free speaker. I'm very appreciate all your sharing and your presentations. My name is Lam. I'm a student from Public Health Department, and I have a question for our principal, Professor Hoang Van Minh. And for in the tobacco industry, so you can see that frequently they were arguing that they are not so e-cigarette and also like vape and other heat tobacco produced for adolescents. But then why I see that in your research is that you were your subject is that from 11 to 18. I wonder why you were focused on this participant. Thank you for my this is all for my questions.
Thank you, Bảo Lâm. Your English very good. Thank you very much, and your questions is also very good. You can learn from our presentation today that tobacco industry have many tactics. Yeah. So they always claim that the new tobacco product, including e-cigarette and heated tobacco product, are for smoker, are for adults. That kind of alternative for smoker, alternative for adult. They are not. They said that they are not targeting the younger population, but that is not true. That is not true. The empirical research evidence show that there are they spend a lot of money on marketing campaign. They are promoting the new tobacco product as lifestyle products and with very attractive flavor, with very modern products and trendy, but that is very dangerous. So you can see from our survey that a lot of students are now smoking, using e-cigarette and STP So our study will provide scientific evidence against the misleading arguments by tobacco industry against tobacco industry tactics that a lot of students are now smoking, are now using e-cigarette and HTP. Yeah, there are also some technical consideration when choosing the S-band for the study. And you know that in Vietnam and in other countries, we have GYTS, Global Youth Tobacco Survey, that conducted among students 13 to 15 years old. And in Vietnam, we also conducted global health, school health survey focusing on students 13 to 17 years old. But in this study, we include students from 11 to 18 years old. That means we have information among students 11, 12, and 18. So a lot of study in Vietnam show that a lot of students started using smoking from the age of 11, so that we want to cover wider range of age, so that we have wider policy implication. So that is two main reasons that we choose S-band in our study. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your answers, sir. I want to have one final question for you. Is it okay, right? Yeah. So for your study subject, or free speaker for your study research, is that you focus on the young age and also like education and also like commercial focus on for the younger generation. But do you ever think about back the old generation to know more about e-cigarette or HTP? Because like for in reality, when example like my neighbors know about e-cigarette or maybe HTP, is no much people know about it. So usually they can see grandchildren, their children using face-to-face on them, but usually they don't know what is it. And maybe like we need to focus on the old generation and the parent too. What do you think about that? Like in your country is Australia, you also focus on the young generation too, and for your research in Singapore too. And I mean, it's depend on that country want to focus on what subject and what people they want to campaign. So do you ever think about that? Thank you for that's all for my questions I have.
Yes, may I jump in? Actually, when we talk about the convention cigarette, and we have done a lot of research, study smoking prevalence, and we in Thailand in particular, we found that people above 20, they're no longer starting cigarette. The average age of starting cigarette is why they are in high school, 16, 17, 18, right? So that is the patterns of starting tobacco use, including e-cigarette. So it's good to know, and you suggest that what the adult behavior on that, but the starting age actually is before 18, and right now even 11. So if I'm parents, I'm very concerned about my kid or my children, because they start vape anytime, and as the product at we show, we don't know is exactly vape. When we have a conference in Thailand with school teacher and parent, they admit that they really don't know that this is vape or this is the e-cigarette. They think as it is the USB or thing like that. And sometimes the kid, they just hang this pot as or this kind of thing. So it is very, very dangerous. And as Becky showed that with the cartoon and flavor, no one above 20 will smoke mango e-cigarette, right? It's targeting kids, and actually kids or teenagers are the main target of the tobacco industry. The adult their minor target, the main target is teenagers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bungon. So online, we received several questions, and before the workshop, we already received 12 questions from the participants as well. So because of time is limited, I would like to read a question from an online participant today, from Ms. Giang Bui, from Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids Vietnam office. I have a question from Ms. Bungon. From your presentation, Singapore has worked with commercial platforms like Instagram, Facebook to ban advertisements on e-cigarette. Can you tell more how has Singapore's government worked with these platforms? Do they have any regulations? Some commercial platforms do not have physical office in their other countries. So how can we work with them to strengthen the enforcement on online environment?
Yes, as we heard that dealing with online sale and online promotion is very important for Singapore experience that have been shared by the Singapore government. They have the regulation, as I said, that they regulate the advertising promotion. But in order to enforce that regulation, they invite the commercial online platform, all of them, Lazada, Shopee, and other, and engage them as the what we call the co-partner. So and ask this online platform to monitor because our government officer, they don't have like hundreds or thousands eyes to monitor. It is the responsible of the online platform who have to monitor their clients or their partner, whether they post the sale of e-cigarette or not, and it is their duty to interact or to intervene with that kind of thing. So I think it is very good approach. And when you engage partnership with the private sectors for this reason. In Thailand, we also try to do that. But what we found is that so the e-cigarette is not available in the major online platform, but it's all the a small online platform, which is still a big problem. So the point is that make the major online platform be your partner in enforcing the regulation. But at the meantime, Ministry of what we call information technologies, I hope that there is also in Vietnam, are the one who are in charge of monitor or closing this thing. But it is like you trying to capture, so you close today, they open again tomorrow, thing like that. So this is a very challenging, but the main thing that we need to do all together is to denormalize the tobacco use, the vaping, and make the society aware of this is dangerous for our children, our young generation, so that you can gain public support. And of course, with the strong regulation, strong enforcement that we heard from Australia, I think that we need a lot of effort, and we need to do this, although it is tough, it is a lot of challenge, but we need to do this. Otherwise, it will be for all once half of the young generation to vaping. So I think it is really very important.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bungon, for your sharings. So because the time is limited, so I give one final question for an online participant to Associate Professor Freeman. The question is ends and heated tobacco products recognized as a cessation method in Australia?
So it's as everything, it's a bit complicated. So essentially, heated tobacco products, no, they're completely banned. Disposable vapes, no, there's no evidence that disposable vapes help anyone quit smoking. And then the vapes that are available in pharmacies to adult smokers who want to use them to quit smoking, they are there as unapproved medicines. So that means that the manufacturers of those products have not submitted efficacy, safety trials, effectiveness trials to our Therapeutic Goods Administration to prove that they're safe and effective smoking cessation age. So they're not like, patches and gums and inhalers that have been through clinical trials that have been submitted to the TGA. No company has done that. So yes, they are available, but they're not approved medicine. So we have a system in Australia where if there is a product that people want, a drug that we think may have some clinical benefit, we're able to make that available to people as an unapproved medicine. And we still keep waiting to see what vaping company is going to submit clinical data to show these are safe and effective, and it hasn't happened yet.
Thank you so much, Professor Freeman. So there are still so many questions from online participants that they sent during the submission, but because the time is up, so I would like to thank you so much for the sharings, and we look forward to working with you in the next few days and in the coming years on this very exciting topic and very important public health challenge. Thank you so much, three speakers. And thank you so much, the audience online and offline today.